Welcome to Dexon Photography. We're now in the third part where I show you the images from Venice, and I thought I give you three parts. So the first part was, let's take a look at the raw images unedited. How do raw images look like from the Canon 6D Mark II unedited that we did in the first video. Then in the second video we looked at the images edited, the raw files, the final images that I edit. And now in the third video we will take a look at the images straight from the camera, the JPEG files. So these are all unedited files straight from the camera, and many people talk great about Canon color science, so the colors come out great from Canon. That's what many people say, and here you may be able to understand it, because when I go through these images, I ask myself, why did I even edit all these images, the raw files, if I have images like this already here? So an image like this doesn't need much edit. I can leave it as it is, or just brighten it a little bit up, a little bit more contrast, and that might be the final image. And because I don't think there are many videos out there where people go really into the JPEG files, the raw files unedited, and the raw files edited. That's why I thought I would just get out some of the holiday images I took in Venice, Italy, with the Sigma 35mm lens and the 85mm Canon 1.2 lens, and just skip them through a little bit, so you just get a feel of how the images look like unedited straight from the camera. When you remember, when we looked at these images, they look very similar. So the edited image looks very similar to the JPEG from the camera, which is a great thing for the camera, because I feel that the look that the camera creates in the camera really gets close to the finished image. I don't have to do much here. I can just do a little bit and the image looks already perfect, in my opinion. And this comes in very handy for many situations. For example, I often photograph people on the streets, and they can buy the images later, and I always want to have the images finished the same day, which means often I photograph 1,500, 2,000 images on the streets on one day, and I always have it finished the same day. And often I just use the JPEG files, like these files, and I just upload them and the people can buy the images. Or I just edit the JPEG files with a little bit more contrast, like this, maybe straighten the horizon a little bit, and that's now a beautiful image for the mother to buy. And so I don't have to do much to an image. I can leave it as it is, like this, and then I can go on to the next shooting. And so I'm not talking much now about these images, because we've already taken a look at them in another video, but I just wanted to give you an overview. The raw files unedited, the raw files edited, and now the JPEG files straight from the camera. And the JPEG files turn out different depending on which picture style you use. I often use the picture style faithful or neutral to get a neutral look. So I think this I just edited. Now you don't have to do much. A little bit more contrast, a little bit more exposure, or you can leave it as it is. And this is what I really like about this camera. I've now shot over 1,000 videos in which I used the Canon 6D Mark I or Mark II, and even to this day I still like the 6D Mark I. Here I have the Mark II, but the Mark I is also really great. Images would look very similar. With the 6D Mark II, the great thing is the autofocus with the dual pixel AF, which means that even at f1.2 I can get a person's face in focus, even when the person is moving. So when we take a look at this image here now, we are at f1.2, and she is actually turning and I get the focus at f1.2, which is really incredible. And we get really great colors straight from the camera. So I just skipped through these images because you've seen them all before, but now you see what the camera does without me doing anything to it. You see nothing here has changed. It's still the same file from the camera. And I've selected 800 images, 884 from 6,500, 7,000, just so you get an idea. And if your images that you take don't look like this, I've written an ebook about it, how to get great images straight from the camera. It's called Master Your Camera. It's under €8. I haven't written it to make money. I wrote it just to give you to teach you something, and I put a price tag to it because if you pay something for something, it means more to you. If I did it for free, it might not reach you as much as it will reach you when you pay for it. And even if it's just €8 or a little bit less, you will find over 1,200 videos on this channel about photography. It's all pure passion. It's all actually free projects where I did not get paid, often with my girlfriend or with people on the streets. And I hope that I can touch people with it, that you can get inspired with it. Take pictures with your girlfriend, take pictures of yourself, take pictures unedited, learn to master the craft photography. It's a really great feeling when you walk around town, take images and they turn out great straight in camera. It's a really great feeling because you can put them to your phone then with the Wi-Fi function and then upload them directly. And I'm a big fan of not using a computer, of not needing a computer. I'm a big fan of that. Now I do edit images, especially the wedding images, but something like this on a holiday, you see it's 13,000 images, RAW and JPEG, so half of it is the number of images I took. So about 6,500 images I took. And the day before we went to Paris, where it's also the same number of images. And between Venice and Paris, I was on wedding days with even more images. So it's nice to not need to edit images. I'm a big fan of I can edit images, but I don't have to edit images. And this is what comes out straight from the camera, 85mm 1.2 at f1.2 with the Canon 6D Mark II. So let me just skip through it a little bit more, just so you get some ideas of how the images look like straight from the camera. I'm really happy with these results, and if you ask me which camera I would buy today, I would rather look more for the lenses than the camera bodies. Now, for example, because I have the 85 1.2 and 50 1.2 and other really fast lenses for Canon, I'm not so much interested in buying a Sony camera. Not because I believe the Sony A7 III is probably really great and probably better than this Canon 6D Mark II, but I don't need a better camera. And very important to me are the lenses. It's not so much about the camera body. When I look at these images, I'm not missing out on anything. I don't think that the images from the Sony A7 IIIs without any editing would look better. And it might have better dynamic range, but when I look at these images, I'm not missing out on any dynamic range here. It's totally fine. And so I've learned that the new is not always the better. And I learned this when I bought the 5D Mark I from 2005. It goes to 1/8000th of a second in the shutter speed, and this 6D Mark II only goes to 1/4000th of a second. So it's not always the newest, it's not always the best camera. And I will go into 2019 with the Canon 6D Mark I and Mark II. I still use both cameras extensively, and this is what comes out of it without any editing. I know I repeat myself, but that is the key of this video, to unedited images straight from the camera in JPEG file, shot at 85mm 1.2 or 35mm 1.4 mostly. Yeah, so thank you very much. I hope you get something from this video and the other videos. And I love to hear from you, your feedback. So what can I improve? Tell me what you want to hear. What kind of videos do you like to see? And this was the 60 Mark II, 85 1.2, 35mm 1.4, unedited straight from the camera. And now, good night.